Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the Rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. It's Rabbi Jenny, and I am thrilled to be here tonight with you. I am feeling especially lit up this past weekend. My son was bar mitzvahed on a cruise to the Bahamas, and it was the most delicious weekend I've had in a really long time. So welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. To new listeners, old listeners, welcome back. Please check out rabbijenny.tv. Contact me if you have any questions, and check out my Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and check me out. Contact me, like me. Like me, please. Anyways, before we start going on the topic today, we're going to talk about the two main ideas of the Rabbi Jenny Show. Now, remember, listeners, these are two main ideas. I want you to remember. I want you to internalize them. I want you to make them part of your soul. I want you to scream them from the rooftops and tell them to everyone you know, because it can change your entire life. The first main idea on the Rabbi Jenny Show is this: the world is happening for you and not to you. And that is 100% of the time, all of the time, it is happening for you and not to you. And why is it happening for you and not to you? Because you are divine love light energy, and you are always expanding. Remember, the central idea in Jewish mysticism is this: we are all part of the same light, and when we arrive here, we shatter into a billion little lights. So our whole goal here on the planet Earth is to just continue to expand and expand and expand and reunite together to be bigger and brighter than ever. But we have been caught, my friends. We have been caught in a cycle of believing that things are happening to us. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just part of the human experience, which is what our topic really is about. This is my favorite thing to talk about. This is something I have been passionate about since the beginning of my own spiritual journey, when I recognized my own struggles with the emotion of shame. So our topic today, folks, is this: parting the seas of emotion, and specifically the emotion of shame. The emotion of shame that tells us that we are not enough, that something is wrong with us. This is actually an emotion that we all share as human beings. This is not unusual for you to feel it. Unfortunately, in feeling it, you feel like you're unusual. So you get stuck in it, and you get stuck in what's called the sea or the swamp of emotional shame by Carl Jung. That's what he called it, the actual swamp, which is so cool because we are going back to Torah today. And we are going to look at what's going on in the scroll. And what is actually going on, listeners, is this: Moses is parting the sea. He's doing it. He's parting the sea. And I love this imagery. I love this idea because you know what I always teach you about the scroll, about the code, about Scripture, is that it is a code of the soul, and that all the characters in that code are inside of you. So you have a Moses, you have a Pharaoh, you have Israelites running around inside of your soul, and you are trying to break free yourself from your own ideas. So I want to look at this idea of the parting of the seas as actually Moses' ability to part the idea of enslavement and move forward into freedom. Okay? And inside of each and every one of us, we have this Moshe. I've told you this many, many times, and we have to look at his name, and we have to look at what it means to reiterate the idea that you have this power inside of you to break free from your emotions and walk forward into the light, into who you are supposed to be. Because unfortunately, the emotion of shame keeps us stuck because it tells us we're not safe if we stand out. We're not safe if we speak our truth. Who do you think you are? Well, let me tell you what Moses first said. What he noticed before he went on his mission to free the people is he said this, and he saw this, and he felt this. He said, I am that I am, and he recognized the divinity within himself. And that is the key to walking forward through the seas of shame, is recognizing who you are. So when your inner mind tells you in shame, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are standing out like that? Who do you think you are thinking you can make it? You say, I am that I am. That is the message of today's show. Because shame itself is something that speaks to us in many ways. Brene Brown, she is an innovator in the topic of shame, and she was revolutionary when she recognized that every single person feels this. And I think that this is important to us because we when we're little, whether we're bullied or whether we want to act a little different than our family or our culture, or we have unique ideas, or we see something that maybe we think isn't right, or we want to tell on something that isn't quite right, we might be told by our families, don't do that. Don't go outside the tribe. Don't stand out. And so we feel shame. And what's interesting about shame is that it's such a powerful emotion, folks. It's such a C, and which is why both Brene Brown and Carl Jung and most Jungian therapists and psychologists refer to it as like the swamp where we get caught, is that it's such an overwhelming emotion that it leaves us immobile. Actually immobile, and it will stop us. And then what's even worse is it turns us into people who please other people instead of moving forward to our own destiny. So I want you to look at this in Scripture. I want you to look at the fact that the Israelites were actually building pyramids for Pharaoh. That's what they did. They put brick upon brick upon brick for the Pharaoh. For the part of us that's trying to be like everyone else, to attach to a world, to a past, to a material things that they may not fit us anymore, and we need to break free. And so the message today is to give you permission to break through from the shame that you might feel. And the first step, folks, is just to admit you have it. We all have it. We all have that weird feeling when we're standing out, when we're having that crazy idea. And it is that very idea that the world needs, that you need to move forward. Now, I want you to give you some of the voices that shame would use with you. And shame can result in secondary emotional states like rage, sadness, fear. And one of the things that most people in the world are struggling with right now is anxiety. And not like anxiety like one minute of the day. There is a epidemic of I'm trying to think of the word of all day long anxiety. you just live in a state of anxiety, and I think it's because we're becoming so connected through technology. The world is becoming so small, and we're putting ourselves on Facebook, and we're telling everyone what we're doing, and it's this idea that we all have to know what everybody's doing, and it's all going to be right and fit into everybody's idea. That the moment you have like an idea, you feel anxiety. So your whole life is like this pull in between fitting together and being yourself, and fitting together and being yourself. And it's this constant thing. But I want to give you the words that your shame will give you, because it can be tricky. And the one that I know from my own experience is, who do you think you are, Lady Jane? Who do you think you are? Being a rabbi. Who do you think you are, putting a yarmulke on your head like a freak? Who do you think you are, wanting to stand out, wanting to tell people the truth? Who do you think you are? How many times have we always heard that from the people in our life? Well, don't do that. People might make fun of you, or don't do that. People might not think you're weird. I don't know. I think weird is cool. Actually, weird is in on the Rabbi Jenny Show. So these are the voices of shame. I'm flawed. I'm not good, pretty, talented, successful, rich, masculine, feminine, tough, caring, pretty, skinny, creative, or popular enough. That's good. Who do I think I am? Remember, I am that I am. No one can ever find out. That's a really, really serious thing. No one can ever know who I really am. If they knew who I really was, then something really bad would happen. They never really tell you what bad would happen, but that's the funny thing about shame. I'm going to pretend everything is okay. Let me just make everything okay. I can change to fit in if I have to. And then the last one is, taking care of them is more important than taking care of me. And shame is a very overpowering feeling. And listeners, if you're in it, you might not even know it. It's very overpowering, and it leaves you immobilized. It leaves you in a state of not being able to do what you very much want to do. I watched this movie, and it was a very good example of shame and young shame. And it's a very classic book, Far from the Maddening Crowd. And I watched the recent remake of that book into a movie, and it's about a farmer, a shepherd, actually. He's not even a farmer. He's a shepherd, and he falls in love with a young lady who lives next door, and he has like 1 million sheep. He's got all these sheep, and he's got like a nice piece of land and a lot of sheep, and he wants to marry this girl. He sees this girl, and he really, really wants to marry her, but she's very independent. She's really not interested. She's young. She has things to do. She has her own farm, and she doesn't really need a piano because she has her own piano. But he comes over to her and proposes, and she turns him down, and he feels shame. And you see it. You see it in his face. You see it, the rejection. You see the embarrassment. And he goes back to his home, and what is so interesting is he goes back to his home, and his sheepdog, actually his puppy sheepdog, chases his sheep by accident over a cliff. It's very tragic. You know those old books. They're just so tragic and fabulous. But what's so interesting about this character is that he stays with her. Through a series of coincidences, he ends up working for the same woman that he proposed to when he was younger, and he works for her his whole life. He's loyal. He stands next to her. Men come and court her and try to marry her. Some die. Some end up in jail. And he just stays right next to her. And then one day he says, I'm going to leave you someday. And he does. He walks away to leave her. And she chases him outside. This is such a great, you guys got to see this. So he chases her. She chases him on the horse. And she's like, you can't leave. You can't leave. You can't leave. And he says to her, well, would you be with me? And she goes, I don't know. You never asked again. And that's the perfect example of shame. All those years went by, and he never tried again, folks. He never tried again. So the message today on the Rabbi Jenny Show is to part the seas of your emotion. And how you're going to do that is in some really simple steps. And the first of those simple steps we're going to talk about is to recognize it. I want you to hear me speaking to you, listeners, and I want you to recognize and own it. You know, I don't feel good enough. There's an area in my life that I really want to achieve something better, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in work, money, your body image. I just don't feel like I quite measure up. Own it. We all feel that way, by the way. Even the most biggest, brightest people. It's a human. It's part of the rainbow of emotions. So recognize it. Own it. That is your first step. Because the next step is that you have to share it. You have to share your feelings with another human being. This is the first step in becoming free. Because I guarantee you when you share that with another human being, they will look back at you and they will say, I feel that way too. And when that happens, there is a magical thing because it just goes away. Because shame tells you you're different. Shame tells you that something's wrong. Well, how do you eradicate shame? You find out that everyone feels it. Unfortunately, we can't figure that out ourselves. So you got to share it. We'll get to the next steps and to our wonderful guests. I also would like to pay a little tribute to Glenn Fry. I came to tears. I'm a huge Eagle fan. I will miss him. And they were experts at taking it easy. So thank you, Glenn Fry. This is Rabbi Jenny. We'll be right back talking about parting the seas of shame and deep emotion.
It's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
Substance abuse disorder is a thief. Substance abuse disorder steals your self-esteem. Substance abuse disorder steals your power. Substance abuse disorder steals your joy. Substance abuse disorder steals your purpose. Substance abuse disorder steals your life. If you or someone you love is suffering from the effects of substance abuse disorder, Epiphany Resources has your solution. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team offer a unique an effective combination of creativity, spirituality, and cognitive therapy to treat and empower those suffering from substance abuse disorder. Get back your self-worth. Get back your power. Get back your joy. Get back your purpose. Get back your life. Contact Epiphany Resources at 561-762-0272 or at www.etcfl.com and say goodbye to substance abuse disorder and hello to life. Epiphany Resources, a place to begin.
The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back. It's Rabbi Jenny. We're talking about parting the seas of emotion or shame so you can move forward into your life. And we were going over, before we went to break, the steps of actually freeing yourself from shame. And the first step is recognizing and owning that you feel it at all. This is important, listeners, not to be ashamed of shame. So we want to recognize it, and then the second step is we want to share it. But before we get to the next parts of it, we're going to include our guests. So we actually have two here. So we have a Bad Mama Jamma, and we have a Tom, Dick, or Harry, and we're going to kind of introduce them both. Mama Jamma. Mama Jamma.
You're telling me Rabbi Jenny will talk to any Tom or Dick or Harry? Any Tom.
We've never had a girl and a boy.
Harry.
Yeehaw! I am so excited today. We are here with Sue Merklin and Tim Kramer from Addiction Reach and their innovative new golf therapy program for addiction. Say hi, Sue.
Hi, everybody.
Sue Merklin.
Hi, Rabbi Jenny.
And Tim, say hello.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. And we're talking about shame, and we're talking about what you do. So, addiction. Sue, tell us about Addiction Reach. You're the CEO and founder of Addiction Reach. What is Addiction Reach?
Addiction Reach is a company that will work with people in whatever stage of recovery they are. We'll help families, we'll help couples, we'll help individuals. Thank you. And we think out of the box. So we're not the normal program that you go to for 30 or 60 days.
Sue, into the mic, yeah. There you go.
Okay. And what we've just done is put together an amazing program that includes golf. But the golf is a part of mental health as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Tim.
Yes, Tim, pull that mic up. There we go.
Very
All
good.
right.
All right.
Welcome,
Excellent.
Tim Kramer.
Thank you.
Tell us about you, and you've actually created a spirituality program for healing from addiction. Explain to the listeners what you do with your clients.
I have a program called Spirit of Golf, and Spirit of Golf really is an emotional mastery program. We see with so many golfers who do not manage their emotions very well. And so that's really been my expertise for the past decade. And I'm fortunate I have many golfers on the LPGA, the PGA Tours, and who really realize the importance of managing emotions. So when Sue came to me several months ago, and we were just kind of doing a little brainstorming, and she told me about this program that she wanted to create, explained to her what I do in terms of the emotional management stuff, and it was a perfect blend with the work that she's doing and the work that I do in terms of the way that I work with golfers.
Tell us about you, Tim. I'm dying of curiosity. How did this happen? Because you're clearly an athlete. Tim's very tall, everyone, and very athletic. But tell us how you came to the spirit of golf, the story behind it.
I've had a meditation practice now for 25 years, and so I played the mini tours as a professional, golf, quite unsuccessfully, I might add, for a number of years. And my background educationally was in communications. And so Spirit of Golf was really a blending of those practices. Now, as I got to know golfers over the years, what I really saw were the ones who were self-destructing, not from a lack of physical talent, but really because of the way their minds, they were managing their games and their emotions. And so it just became an interest of mine and a passion of mine to really help golfers to learn to quiet their minds and in the process to deal with their emotions in a more effective way.
Do you see addiction in golf? I mean, we see addiction everywhere now, but as a coping skill.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And are golfers more addicted than the general population? That would be very difficult to say, but I see a huge addiction situation within the golf community, and many who are willing to deal with it, and then some who are not. Yeah.
So when we talk about shame, when you were listening to the talk about shame, how can you identify with that in yourself, like overcoming that, using sports, using golf and meditation?
Yeah, the meditation process has really helped me, maybe a little bit different from what you're talking about, but to focus on emotions that I want to feel. And really, even within the work that I do through Spirit of Golf and that we'll do through Addiction Reach, we really help participants shot by shot by shot to get into the emotional space they want to get into, what I call living in the now, bringing really present moment awareness of how I want to feel right now as I'm about to hit this shot. Very challenging, by the way, because we drag a lot of those old emotions with us.
It's a sea. You got to guard it. You got to wave your staff. You got to slice that club.
And so really helping, though, golfers to shot by shot learn to manage what I call getting emotions out in front of conditions.
Well, and it's, our mind is really where all of this comes in. It's the tapes that we play over and over. And I would think, as an athlete, mastering, they talk about getting in the zone.
Absolutely.
And we talked about that before, but just the idea of mastering those old tapes, like, who do you think you are? You're never going to make it. That's a small ball. It's 400 yards away, and really, do you encourage the sharing that we talked about when you're teaching your...
It's a great question. They come to me, but some of the most recent brain research I've come across, it may be a little bit different, and not to suggest that it's not all effective, but really says that it's important to focus more on the stories you want than those you don't, because really anything we give our energy to, we will see more of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we can get trapped. And by the way, perfect example that most of my students, even those on the tour, want to come to me and talk to me about, the bad round of golf they had, and the problem on the 13th hole, and it wasn't fair. The greens are.
Right.
I know I'm using some golfese here, but
perfect.
But they just want to complain.
But it's the same. It's the same message. It's the same message in Scripture. But we were slaves. Bad things happened. And Moses was like, "No, you don't understand. Look, the water's parted. Let's go. Let's go."
They get immediately into the victim mode.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. We could take any venue in life and really start to see. So that's why in having met Sue, this is a perfect blend, because it sounds silly to those who don't play golf. They're like, well, golf, it's just a silly little game. To those who play the game, it's a lot more than that. And we see in a lot of cases, golf drives people to drink. And
Absolutely.
And the pressure on a golf course, it's a little white ball, but it's so much more than that to people.
No, but you got to hit it far. I mean, it's quite to just the normal observer, it's quite exceptional.
Well,
the feat of doing it.
Absolutely. Yes. But many of our clients will be these CEOs who are used to getting their way, controlling things, and all of a sudden they take up golf. And now's a sport where there's ultimately very little, if any, control. So learning to relinquish that control and be in the now and just trust and accept and all these wonderful spiritual principles that really fall into what we will be sharing.
I think it's an amazing venue, actually. As you're talking, Tim, I'm thinking how amazing it really is, how unrealistic it's almost as unrealistic golf. I mean, as a parting of a sea, as an image, that little ball going. But it's such it would trigger feelings of shame in even the most successful human being, because it's very, very difficult. There's people who have natural talent and form. I have a brother who's he could do it. Like easier than most people. His body moves that way. But it takes a lot of practice, a lot of discipline, but it would be a wonderful way to build self-love, to build confidence, to build a sense of
It's interesting
esteem.
you say that. We take a little different approach in that we want the emotions and we want the confidence and the sense of self out in front of performance. Because if we can't get our sense of self and those positive emotions out in front of performance never sustains. So we're confident, we're not. We're happy, we're not. So it's always a bouncing around of emotions. There's no emotional stability. So really the work that we do through this program, what I've been doing with my tour athletes all along, is getting them emotionally stable.
I love it.
Trusting that as I come up to what we would call a higher vibrating internal frequency, as I come up here, my game now has to come up to that level. But if my emotions are only as good as the game, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, bouncing all over. It's, who said this, who did that, whatever. And we really are kind of in for a bumpy ride.
Absolutely. I think it's the same. It's higher consciousness, lower consciousness. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's the I am that I am versus I'm nothing. And the I am that we just know. Right. You just know you're a part of the whole, and you just focus and you go forward. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. What about in your own life? Here we go. We're going to Tim. This is the Rabbi Jenny Show. We may have to come back to this, but I want to know where you've struggled.
Yeah. Here's my take on this, though, is that with the work that I've done, I don't talk about that anymore. And the reason I don't is I don't want to give any energy or feel bad anymore about anything. But I really believe that by me focusing on how I want to feel, I can access those states at this point quite easily.
I think that's great.
But to go back and talk about, now, it was pretty normal. I mean, it wasn't.
Do you mind if I ask your age,
no,
Tim?
58.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, for all of us in our 40s, that may be a little bit later.
I went through.
I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want anybody listening to feel like they're strange because they still need to talk. They still actually,
absolutely not. No, my whole take on it is if it feels good, you should do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to know that there's a light on the other side where you won't need to talk about it anymore.
Absolutely.
Which I think that's the inspiration.
What I'm saying. That's absolutely. That's all I'm saying. Yes.
We'll be right back. A little Glenn Fry and Eagles for you. This is Rabbi Jenny talking about cutting through, slicing, which is not such a good thing to do in golf, your emotions, and moving forward without shame into your most realized self.
Abuse disorder is a thief. Substance abuse disorder steals your self-esteem. Substance abuse disorder steals your power. Substance abuse disorder steals your joy. Substance abuse disorder steals your purpose. Substance abuse disorder steals your life. If you or someone you love is suffering from the effects of substance abuse disorder, Epiphany Resources has your solution. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team offer a unique and effective combination of creativity, spirituality, and cognitive therapy to treat and empower those suffering from substance abuse disorder. Get back your self-worth. Get back your power. Get back your joy. Get back your purpose. Get back your life. Contact Epiphany Resources at 561-762-0272 or at www.etcfl.com and say goodbye to substance abuse disorder and hello to life. Epiphany Resources, a place to begin.
The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. We're here with Sue Merklin and Tim Kramer from Addiction Reach and their new innovative and exciting golf therapy program. Sue, tell us a little bit about all the components of Addiction Reach. Like when somebody signs up and is a golfer and is struggling with addiction, what can they expect if they sign up for a week of Addiction Reach or 2 weeks or however long treatment takes? What would the day look like?
Well, initially that person would be meeting with a medical person, depending on what stage that person is of addiction, whether they need detoxification or they're past that stage and they're in aftercare. Then they would meet with a psychologist and they would have an evaluation. The morning, though, would be normally an addiction or a mental health counselor, a mindfulness piece, and the piece on family and relationship and love. And then the afternoon is golf.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I've known you, Sue, for a while, and one of the things I admire about you is your ability to market and be out there. And when you listen to the topic and you listen to what moved you forward in your life? Was there a moment or a time in your life where you looked at all the ways you victimized yourself and finally said, you know what, no more. I'm going to take my own life in my own hands and move forward, that you want to share?
I think that was about 20 years ago. It was a marriage with children. And I never felt that I could do everything that I wanted to. I never felt that I could do it. And in the last 20 years, I've done a lot of different businesses, and I've been successful with them, and I've been helping people. And I think helping people in whatever job you're doing and seeing what they need is so important to helping yourself.
I also think it cuts through shame when you do that, because anytime you connect to another human being, and Tim can attest to this, there's no room for that sense of feeling different. It creates that unity. And you're always thinking about how can I help more people? How can I do something different to reach people's hearts and souls? So that's fantastic.
We do think out of the box.
I think so. Well, there's a lot of treatment where you actually check in to treatment. And one of the innovative things that Sue does with her team is they bring it to you. And for businessmen and for people who have busy lives, that's important. It's important to make recovery realistic.
And personal.
I think, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I think they make it seem like you have to change your whole life, everything. And I think it's an inside job, not necessarily an outside job all the time. So Tim, tell us more. We were talking in the break about imagination.
Yes.
And using imagination, because honestly, our ego doesn't see the future. It has no ability to do that. It's a computer. It only has the input from the past and right now. So we need to use this imagination. So tell us how you use this imagination in Spirit of Golf to help your golfers.
Yeah, well, one of the key components is that, and I call it kind of a major disease that we have. We call it what-is-itis. And what-is-itis is just our preoccupation on what is that we normally don't like, and we think it's going to be that way forever. And really the power of imagination is that we begin to use the mind to focus on things, and here's the catch, things that we haven't even seen. So it's using the mind to reach for the things we haven't seen, how wonderful they feel, and really hold on to that vision so that we begin giving more airtime to the wonder that's ahead of us rather than what is that we don't like.
And how do you do that with your...
shot by shot by shot. What's that?
And you do that on an individual shot basis?
Totally.
When you put the ball down
Totally.
and you...
Absolutely, because a lot of times coaches will say, okay, for example, just go out and have fun today. Make it your goal. A lot of coaches will say, just make it your goal today, have fun on the course. Well, that's great for about 2 or 3 shots or 2 or 3 holes, and all of a sudden we're off in the weeds.
Right.
Whereas I really break it down to a shot by shot by shot basis of in the what we call, and this is a little golf ease again, but with each shot, this is how I want to feel. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel calm.
Yes.
I want to feel stable. I want to feel clear. Whatever range of emotions, but it's really helping them to identify an emotion they want to feel.
Yes.
Because we can't be feeling how we want to feel and how we don't want to feel in the same moment.
And I think, when meditation is a great supporter of this idea. Eckhart Tolle talked about the power of the now. Your language sounds a lot like that. But the idea of practicing meditation on a daily basis, for 20 years I've been doing that for at least an hour a day. But it changes the way you accept yourself.
Yes.
Because you realize, what I tell my students is that your mind is just doing its job. It's going to think. It's going to think all sorts of funky things because it's connected in some respects to every other mind on the planet. So the idea of meditation, where does this fit in with your Spirit of Golf in the program when they come to you? Do you recommend that your golfers take time to meditate? Do you have certain...
Sue is bringing in actually somebody who's specialized in mindfulness meditation.
Oh, wonderful.
And so we'll be doing that. But yeah, a lot of the movements that we do, even as they are swinging a golf club, and the coaches that I bring in to teach them swing, by the way, are trained through my program so that it is more of a mindfulness-based approach to swinging a golf club than just whacking a ball.
And that gets us into that state of the now,
Totally.
that state of I am that I am, that state of connectedness that you belong.
It does, but again, the emphasis upon we get ourselves in that space first, and then we swing the club. See, it's a little different approach because the one says, I'll do it this way, and then I will feel this way. The approach we take is, I'll feel this way, and then I'll take the movement.
I think that's...
So it's really the emotional stability, but very positive, strong positive emotions. Now, for some people, it may be calmness. For other people, it may be confidence. For other people, but in the process, then we do let go of the shame. And that is a very critical component of this, is that we really release the negative emotions by focusing more on how we want to feel. And then when we repeat that long enough and with enough enthusiasm and intensity and passion, it's amazing how the shifts that we see in athletes. They do accept. They do begin to accept the now for what it is.
Well, and not tolerating it at whatsoever. Like I have a zero victim at my program. It's all hero based, and we have it's zero tolerance.
Yeah.
You just use that language out.
Absolutely.
No, there's no room for that language. What I wanted to say is if people are listening that are suffering from addiction, whether it's Addiction Reach or any program that you go to, the reality is that coming off of an opiate or coming off of alcohol, your mind is very, very busy. And there may be, you may be listening and thinking, this is insane. I'm never going to be able to swing a golf club. My hands are shaking, for God's sake. What does Addiction Reach do to support the athlete who's going to be dealing with some of those side effects? I mean, does the program get more and more, is it move slowly, is my point?
It moves at the pace of the person that we're working with.
Perfect.
So between the doctors and the mental health professionals and the patient themselves, they all agree upon a plan, and it gives that patient a voice.
Because it's important, you know, some of that mind, some of that busy mind and some of those negative feelings are actually a physical experience that you actually feel. So, you know, you have to give it, you know, treat that through the massage. I know you're offering massage and acupuncture.
And there are medical doctors, and is medication if needed.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. How do our listeners reach you? How do we get in touch with Sue and Tim? If we have any golfers listening or anybody who wants to maybe learn how to golf.
Well, you go to addictionreach.com.
Okay. Is there a phone number?
561-427-1900.
Okay. Tim, what do you want to tell our listeners about your program, about Spirit of Golf?
Well, I think Spirit of Golf, of course, is a wonderful addition to Addiction Reach, and so I'm gonna toss that over to back to Sue. That if somebody wants to experience a powerful golf experience within this realm of addiction recovery, I think we have a program that, first of all, is maybe the first of its kind in the country. But that the powerful blending of all these different people bringing all their passions into it is I'm not familiar with anything like this, and so really the work that I do is in support of the work that Sue is doing. I mean,
well, and I think you're giving a lot of hope. You know, there's people who, you know, what am I going to do if I'm not carrying my booze on the golf cart? Like, you know, there's really that. I'm sure there's people like I can't golf without being loaded. You know, like that's real. What am I going to do? How am I going to go to the club after? And I know you've partnered with PGA National. And how am I going to socialize with other golfers without my scotch? You know, after.
Yes.
I mean, these are real questions. So the idea that you could actually be sober and healthy and clean and also include your own passion for something that you love, I think it's just fantastic.
Well, and I think, too, that it's important to realize, it's my belief that the human spirit itself wants to be sober and wants to experience this wonderful range of emotions we all have access to in a clean way. So I do think that even beyond, I don't see many people who have addictions that are really proud of them and happy with them, and
Shame.
And so,
Shame.
Well, and we get into shame.
Yeah.
So that yes, there's always hope, and I think that this is what's kind of neat is we have some tools that we can help people with. Now, I do it a golf shot at a time, and that sounds simplistic enough, but I tell you what, when you're struggling just not to have a drink.
Well, it is. It's one moment at a time. It's one day at a time.
Yeah.
It is. It 100% is. Whether your passion is writing, dancing, basketball, or golf.
Right.
I think it's absolutely unbelievable. Addictionreach.com. Contact Sue and Tim. You'll hang out for the last segment. All right, great. Thank you so much for being on the Rabbi Jenny Show. We'll be right back.
Now in 7 p.m. are where millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
Substance abuse disorder is a thief. Substance abuse disorder steals your self-esteem. Substance abuse disorder steals your power. Substance abuse disorder steals your joy. Substance abuse disorder steals your purpose. Substance abuse disorder steals your life. If you or someone you love is suffering from the effects of substance abuse disorder, Epiphany Resources has your solution. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team offer a unique and effective combination of creativity, spirituality, and cognitive therapy to treat and empower those suffering from substance abuse disorder. Get back your self-worth. Get back your power. Get back your joy. Get back your purpose. Get back your life. Contact Epiphany Resources at 561-762-0272 or at www.etcfl.com and say goodbye to substance abuse disorder and hello to life. Epiphany Resources, a place to begin. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. It's Rabbi Jenny. We're talking about parting the seas of emotion and shame, and we had some wonderful guests on. But you know what time it is, folks. It is time for the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hi, who's on the phone?
Hi, this is Carol.
Hey, Carol, how are you? Welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. Thanks for being a caller.
Thank you for having me.
Do you know about the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge?
I do not. You'll have to tell me.
Okay, what you have to do for me, Carol, is you have to name 10 things that you are ridiculously joyful about as fast as you can. And if you can do that, you can promote whatever you want within reason, nothing dirty, Carol, on the Rabbi Jenny Show. Okay? So you think you can do it?
And I have to do this as quickly as possible?
Yeah, we don't have a timer yet. We're not that sophisticated. I'd love to lie to you and tell you it had like 25 seconds, but I don't know. We just want you to do it fast for fun.
Okay, well, fast for fun is that I have the best husband in the whole world. He's generous, kind, and loving, and honest and sincere. I have a wonderful son. Number 3 would be I have a wonderful granddaughter. Number 4 would be I have the best, most gorgeous, Mensa bright daughter that God ever put on the face of the earth. Number
You sound
5
like my
would
mother.
be that I have a beautiful home. Number 6 would be the knowledge of knowing how to work at trying to stay healthy in a very difficult and toxic world. Number 7 would be that I am honored to share some of this knowledge with other people since I'm a nutritionist, and I've always felt that God put me here to help other people. Number 8 would be memories of wonderful parents. Number 9 would be that, and I don't say this with ego, that I like me and I have a
I love
sense
it.
that I'm a good person. And number 10 would be that I'm grateful for my gratitude, because I think a lot of people today don't know that if they just look up and see, you know, how wonderful life could be, it would bring them more joy. And that's my list, Rabbi.
Oh, Carol, I love it. I love it. I love it. So what would you like to promote today on the Rabbi Jenny Show?
Well, I'm a nutritionist, and I'm associated with a company named Natural Longevity, and they just have some great products. And they've got a product called Adaptogens that really helps to make you feel a lot less stress. And on the Rabbi Jenny Show, and you have to talk really fast. It helps you to feel less stress. They've got a great product called Phytobio Forte that helps you to digest your foods better, because today everybody is eating, you know, not such great stuff, or we're under a lot of stress and we just don't break down our foods the way we should.
Sure.
And then they have a product called Epic Ultra, which is really a fabulous multivitamin that's got, you know, all sorts of wonderful nutrients in it, and gives you lots of energy, and it helps your immune system. And those are the things that I like to promote because I think it gets people to be healthier, and that's my spiel.
I love it. Carol, how do people get to you? How do they come get your products, read about them? Do you have a website or a Facebook page?
Okay. Yeah, well, they can go online at www.adaptforhealth.com /WWNN radio, actually.
Wow, okay, all right. And do you have a phone number?
We don't have a phone number right now, but we are working on it.
Okay, well, say the website one more time, Carol, for us on the Rabbi Jenny Show.
Okay, it's adaptforhealth.com /WWNN radio.
Okay, Carol, thank you so much for calling into the Rabbi Jenny Show. Maybe you'll come on and talk about nutrition for us?
I would love to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Carol, have a ridiculously joyful evening. And keep looking up.
Rabbi.
Keep looking up. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, that was awesome. I love that. Thankful for my memories. Oh, that was great. Okay, so it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Jam.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Jam. Rabbi Jenny Jam.
Jam. Oh, we're getting a little slow here. We are. Save yourself from your shame. Clear your heart from that pain. Free yourself. Nothing's real except the way you bounce on how you feel. Don't let the water sweep you away. Don't let the water sweep you away. Who is like you, babe? Who is like you? Catch your heart off the ground. Cradle it outside of sound. Let it see that what you know ain't necessarily true to what is so. Don't let the water sweep you away. Don't let the water sweep you away. Who is like you, babe? Who is like you? You're bigger, you're brighter, you're bolder than ever. You've got stuff to do and a vision to bring. Don't let that past put you together. Walk through the water and shake it and sing. Don't let the water sweep you away. Who is like you, babe? Who is like you? Oh my goodness, it's Rabbi Jenny. I want to read to you. We're talking about, these are our last few moments, we're talking about parting the seas of shame and destructive emotions to walk forward away from negativity and into the light. And there's an African proverb that says, when there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. And I love that. And how do we build an ally within? And how we do that is, like our guest shared, we build that through meditation and self-care and self-compassion and self-love and doing things like golfing and singing and rapping like an idiot and doing things that make you feel alive and things that make you feel light. It's a very, very important thing. I want to read you a section from Brene Brown's book, The Gift of Imperfection. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known, and when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, kindness, and affection. Love is not something we give or get. It is something that we nurture and grow. A connection that can only be cultivated by two people when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. Shame, blame, disrespect, betrayal, and the withholding of affection damage the roots from which love grows. Love can only survive these injuries if they are acknowledged, healed, and rare. And let me just tell you, there is nobody like you. You are a unique expression of the divine, listeners. This is very important. Remember, the world is happening for you and not to you, and it is happening for you and not to you because there's nobody like you. I've talked about this a million times on the Rabbi Jenny Show, that everything else has a duplicate. You look at flowers, you look at trees, you look at the ocean, you look at fishies. They all look alike. Human beings, we are fantastically different. There should be absolutely no self-doubt that we are not on purpose. We are a puzzle that fits together of light and love, and it is your job to walk forward and know this. Meditate, get to know yourself, stay in the now, follow your passion. I adore you. I look forward to next week, but tune in on RabbiJenny.tv if you want to watch this again, and let go of shame. This is Rabbi Jenny. Bye-bye.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now.